everybody. Let me hope that we're doing so great. I'm Teacher Napoleon. Today we are going to study historical sources. But before moving to historical sources, let us talk about the meaning of history. In general, when we say the term history, comes from the Greek word historia, which means to ask or research for the truth and report the findings. History is the study of past events in relation to human beings. The study of history aims at improving the present and shaping the future of people. The past of something is therefore its history. Let's have an example. Doctors, for example, talk of the medical history of the patient or the history of a certain disease. The past experience of a person, for example, your life as primary school pupil, is history at this moment. History seeks to find out the origin of humans using available evidence, where it also seeks to answer questions such as why the human being is a toolmaker, why humans construct shelter, and why human beings domesticate animals and plants. A term which is closely related to history is prehistory. This term is used when referring to unrecorded or unwritten history. It also refers to those activities that man engaged in the past before writing or drawing were invented as a way of storing knowledge. Such a knowledge has been passed down from the prehistoric period to the modern times in the form of songs, myths, stories passed on oral artifacts, fossils, and the languages of the people. And now let's move on branches of history. Since humans are involved in numerous or complex activities, the study of their past is categorized systematically into political, economy, and social history. Therefore, one can choose to study a particular or special aspect in isolation. For example, political, economy, or social history of the world or Africa. Political history. When we say political history, this is a branch of history which deals with government or control systems. It is, among other issues, concerned with political leadership, electoral activities, the making of policies, security and maintenance of law and order, even the interaction of branches of government. Social history is the study of customs, traditions, and cultural beliefs of family, education, children, demography, and voluntary institutions, for example, churches. Economic history is the study of how an entire system of production and consumption works, such as hunting, gathering, crop growing, pastoralism, trade, industry, credit, and working people at all levels of the system. And now, without wasting our time, let's go with different sources of history. Here we can talk about oral traditions or oral sources of history. Oral traditions tradition refers to the custom of handing down information by word of mouth from generation to generation. Oral traditions are important sources of historical information, especially in non-literate societies, where such traditions include stories, legends, myths, riddles, poems, songs, and proverbs. And now let's move on another source of history, which is called linguistics. This is the study and analysis of languages. It studies the structure and development of languages in general or of a particular language. In other words, it is the study of language as it changes with time. It's also a scientific study and analysis of a language and the relationship between different languages groups. Language study helps us to discover its form and content, vocabulary and grammar. It also tells us the historical experience of the people who speak or spoke it. Let's talk about archaeology. This archaeology, it is also another branch of history. It is another source of history, which study of humans past by scientific analysis of material remains of their culture. Archaeologists find evidence from past traces left by humans, such as coins, bones, tools, pottery, bells, and remains of building, among other things. And now, there are some methods of gathering this historical evidence through archaeology, where the archaeologists look for areas where erosion has occurred and exposing surfaces which may have some clues. They follow these clues to find fossils and artifacts. At times they have to dig deep before they can find any physical remains. They utilize their vision. In this case, they find on the surface a small part of settlement, such as a few stones in a regular pattern. Such areas are usually of a different color from the ground around them. They can also another method like historical research. A place may be mentioned in historical document or in any oral narrative, for example, Omovari or Olduvai George. From experience, an archaeologist can tell what kind of geographical area to look for where these features might be found. Through cultivation and building construction, farmers and builders may expose ancient objects that can arouse the curiosity of researchers. For example, Nyayo ya Mungu in Tanzania, where a single extra large footprint was found engraved on a rock surface. There is another source of history which is called anthropology. Anthropology is the study of man. The study of man its origins, development, customs, beliefs, and social relationship. To be successful in this study, anthropologists have to live among the people to experience their way of life, and this helps archaeologists to understand and explain structures of society, forms of social organization, institutions, forms of government, system of inheritance, descent, marriage, religious customs, and cultural values. There is another source of history which is called genetics. Genetics is the scientific study of the way in which characteristics are passed from parents to their offspring. The study relating to plants in particular useful to the historians. By studying plants from the time of their domestication, their movement and appearance, new cultivated varieties can be identified with the people whose country they form part. Moreover, genetic data provide information matching historical event and evidence of previously unrecorded genetic mixing. And let's move on another source of history, which is called written sources. In these written sources, we have archives and early manuscripts. Archives are a collection of historical documents or recorded, especially carrying classified information but made accessible to the public after some time. Archives are also places for keeping public or government and other historical records. They are rich in historical information. A manuscript is a document that is written by hand. When I say document that is written by hand, to mean that not typed or printed, like those on which the Bible and Quran are based. There is also a printed source, a printed sources. This is another type of written sources, where this printed source of historical information include books, diaries, newspapers, photographies, and newsletters. Diaries are referred to diary records of events and business transactions. There is also another source of history called electronic or audiovisual sources. Electronic sources of historical information include microfilms, television, films, videos, radio, data banks, and database. Microfilms, these are films on which extremely small photographs of documents and printed matter are stored. This printed matter, these may be tiny, but can be read when magnified. Documents are usually converted to microfilms for the purpose of preservation and saving storage. Television, films, and videos, these combine both pictures and sound, thus depicting the situation as it was. For example, recordings of the 1994 genocide actually happened as the action was captured live. The radio, it captures the words and emotions of an event as it was. Database and the databanks and the database, these are large stores of organized information which can be accessed in a number of ways by the user. For example, via internet. There is another source of history called geology. This geology is the scientific study of the Earth's crust, rock strata, and the history of the development. Geologists are the people who study rocks, where sometimes they come across fossils which give additional information on human beings. Geologists can also approximate the age of fossils by studying the layers of rocks in which they are found. Therefore, let's stop by here. Next day, we shall continue with the relationship between history and the other subject.